The Narrative Life of Frederick Douglass, Chapter 10, pages 51 through 56. In paragraph 1, we see a few things going on. First, Frederick Douglass leaves Master Thomas's house to live with Mr. Covey on January 1st, 1833. For the first time in his life, he becomes a field hand, and we learn that Mr. Covey is a cruel master. We also see a story of how Frederick has problems with an ox after he is told to go in the forest with the ox and to collect wood. We see an existential crisis going on in this paragraph as Frederick spends much of his time thinking about what could have happened if he hadn't stepped out of the way and how he escapes death twice, first by the ox and second by Mr. Covey's. We see a couple literary devices. I won't go over all of them, but we see syntax, where Frederick Douglass shapes his sentences in a specific way to convey feeling, juxtaposition, where he compares contrasting ideas, his imagery, where he gives us a grotesque image of him almost dying by the hand of the ox. We see diction, where we see words like blood, raising ridges, and flesh to convey negative tones. And we see pathos, where he gives us a graphic scene that really jumps at you and tugs at your heartstrings.
Paragraph 2 is nothing but a transitional stage of how when Frederick Douglass lived with Mr. Covey, and it also tells about the cruelty that he witnessed when living with Mr. Covey.
In paragraph 3, Frederick introduces Mr. Covey and describes his deceptive character to the readers. We see how he's always sneaking around the plantation, hiding under bushes. The slaves never know when he's there or not. He acts more religious than he is, as he uses God to justify his actions, and he deceives everyone, including himself. We see more literary devices, as well as syntax juxtaposition, where he compares two contrasting ideas in his absence and in his presence. And we see biblical allusion in this paragraph. His comings were like a thief in the night. The saying "like a thief in the night" is actually an allusion to the Bible verse found in the First Thessalonians. We also see diction, where Frederick uses the words perpetrating, grotesque, and deceptions, which all have negative connotation in order to establish the wickedness of Mr. Covey's character.
Paragraph 4 is about his stay with Mr. Covey and how he treated his slaves and how Frederick Douglass was broken in and how he lost interest in learning. There are 2 slides filled with transitional figurative language. This one contains syntax, juxtaposition, allusion, and diction. Syntax uses certain sentence structures to show a certain point, and for juxtaposition, he compares a man to a savage or animal, and for allusion, he alludes to slavery being a dark night. And for diction, he uses certain words to convey a certain feeling upon the reader. For ethos, Frederick Douglass uses name to build credibility, and for euphemism, instead of saying that he was like broken in or like physically abused to a point where he wouldn't do what he usually did, he just said Mr. Covey succeeded in breaking me in. And for repetition, he tells how work is like the most important thing by repeating like work with scarcely more the order of the day than of the night.